He's an Indian who has lived and worked in Abu Dhabi, London, Moscow, Cyprus, Washington. He's definitely an extremer, so he belongs here. He has a pilot's license. He loves skiing. Not only Indians love skiing. And the worst thing of all is that he has actually sailed to Antarctica in a garage-made sailboat. So this guy is a maverick. Ajay Goyal.
A shout out and gratitude to the great organizers of Startup Extreme and the volunteers for this amazing event. When I started communicating with Startup Extreme, I was emailing Nikki, and the first thing she said was, I'm from Australia and we know wildfires. The one bush fire of 2018 in Australia killed nearly 3 billion animals. It is possible that nearly 8 million species have gone extinct. And this is just one fire in one season. The scale of global wildfires is apocalyptic. From Canada to Chile, from Russian taiga to Spain and Italy, from North Africa to United States, California, Oregon, fires are now causing what is measured nearly $150 billion of economic damage every year. What damage the emissions cause to healthcare is unknown, but it is very serious. What damage and how much CO2 is being emitted into the atmosphere, nearly 8 billion tons of CO2 only from forest fires, more than the all industrial emissions of Germany. So this is a massive global problem. And as Elon Musk says, don't work on a solution, work on a big problem. So we started working 3 years ago on using satellite data, because we are space engineers, programmers, aeronautical engineers, on using satellite Earth observation data and machine learning to tackle the problem of forest fires and to see if we could predict at a local scale what was the risk of forest fire in a particular forest or in a polygon, so that we could intervene early with conservation techniques, smart forestry, improved forest management, removal of fuel. As Lars said, things are moving so fast that while 3 years ago the main word for us was machine learning, today I can tell you that there are already models that have pre-processed 1 trillion images of satellite data and has pre-processed using AI analysis of 50 million square kilometers of forest. So what we're building on top of that is that we would be able to predict almost a year in advance on global and local scale and tell you what is the risk of fire in your forest, and we would also be able to give you a decision support system and tell you how you can mitigate that risk. And finally, what we have launched today, and if you will look at our website, which is ForestSAT.space, we have launched, or we are launching, a new carbon marketplace where not only the AI will predict the risk of fire, will not only give you the decision support, but will also automatically do science and database carbon credits generation. And you will be able to buy and send the money to forest fire mitigation.
I was just waiting for you to draw graphs. Fantastic. What a great company. So I'll leave it to the experts to do the roasting or to get more information out of Ajay. Please.
Okay, so maybe I'll start with a question. How do you usually each business has some kind of a business model and monetization plan? How do you plan to monetize it? I understand the social impact of the project, and this is definitely huge. But how do you want to sustain the company long term?
Yeah, my approach right from the beginning, and the reason we have not been able to raise any money from any VCs is because when I get asked that question, I usually walk out. I have self-funded it primarily. I have 4 wonderful partners who are visionaries, and they have given us angel funding. We got some funding from Innovation Norway, my approach is when you solve a big problem for the society, society will become your ally and help you perpetuate that solution and make it global. This is what Google has done. This is what Microsoft has done. My solution right now is we know how we can predict the risk of fire, number one solution. We can sell that prediction. Number two, we can give a decision support system, which is a SaaS. We can sell that. Very difficult to sell to governments. Nobody wants to pay to prevent a problem. People want to spend money on solving a problem. Three is the carbon marketplace, the world's first AI-driven, global scale carbon credit marketplace whereby people can channel nature finance and carbon credits into forestry. But first I have to build the solution.
I have a bit of a personal question for you. When I heard the cool intro that you had sailed to Antarctica in a garage-built sailboat, I was quite reminded of Alan MacArthur, who is also, sailed around the world.
A hero of mine.
Exactly, a hero of, I think, many of us, launched Circularity. Basically, my question is, from all the experiences that you've had, what makes you the right person? What got you into this problem in the first place?
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have only ever worked for 7 months for a company when I was 20 years old. I graduated as an engineer at a very young age of 20. I have so far created 7 ventures, and all my ventures, everything I've ever done in my life, has been because of my passions. I do what I believe in. So in this project, my wife, who is also an aeronautical and rocketry engineer and a data scientist, and myself as an engineer, and our third co-founder, who is a machine learning and AI specialist, we are driven by, at once, a sense of panic about what is happening. And we feel, what are we going to leave behind? We spent every minute of our free time in the forests. We live on the edges of forests, wherever we are. And I feel scared when I see what is happening in these forests. And if you have the ability to do something about it, I think it's a moral imperative. You don't have a choice. You have to do it. So this is how I feel about it. Obviously, I've spent a lot of my money on it, a lot of time on it, but that's how it is.
Thank you.
So maybe a technical question. So you mentioned analyzing satellite images. So you're using computer vision, AI-based computer vision. Is there anything else AI related that you are using to analyze data?
Oh yes, brilliant. So what we are doing is, there is obviously, when we say satellite Earth observation, we usually think in terms of photography. That ability to take pictures now is down to 15 cm resolution, which is amazing. So the AI which Meta has released with World Resource Institute, they can now count every single tree which is more than 1 meter height. But they do it not only based on imagery, but on remote sensing. It's multispectral data, it is LiDAR data, it is hyperspectral data. So the beauty of machine learning and AI is that you can harmonize and synthesize that data and run the algorithms which have existed already for 10, 20 years. The science is there. So when we released the ForestSAT GPT, we have done it about 6 months ago. All of the research that has ever been done in forestry and in remote sensing is now in GPT. So what we are simply doing is that we are taking all of the remote sensing data, the imagery, harmonizing it, adding to it the aerial data and the drone data and the ground data to come to a ground truthing, to understand what is exactly the risk and what it is that we can do about it.
Fantastic. I think that's a really good way to finish this off.
Thank you.
Give it up for Ajay Goyal, ForestSAT.